Hello everybody, this is Fernando for the latest Cryptids and Monsters video. Alright, one last one here for this series, again focusing on the legendary lumberjack cryptids of the past. This one has been suggested by several of you. Never heard of this before. It was a choice between doing this or the tea kettler, and if but for the fact that there was more information available on this one, that's why I'm going to save the tea kettler for later on. So be on the lookout for that. Who knows when I might focus again on the lumberjack cryptids, but that one will be a good one. Also, several of you kept suggesting the Beast of Bray Road, and this one again, the series this time around was mainly about stuff lumberjack related, but I will get around to it because it does look kind of interesting. It reminded me of one of my other cryptids that I've talked about in the past. So with this particular lumberjack cryptid, it is yet again another feline associated within the animal world, and this one is pretty fascinating because it seems like it has one unique characteristic, and that is the fact that it has either skin of a cactus or it has so many other, I guess, spikes within its body that it resembles very, very closely that of a cactus. Hence its name. It's known as the Cactus Cat, which you're looking at a picture of here. This is a strange creature of some sort because of the way it acts, and especially with regards to the way it acts after it has a particular encounter with its favorite food. Now, what is the cactus cat? Well, basically, it's your average cat. It could be the size of an average cat, let's say like a household cat, or it could be the larger size. Some reports have apparently stated that it's, let's say, the size of a cougar or somewhere around that size altogether, and it's found in the American Southwest. So you're looking at dry, barren landscapes, the kind of stuff normally associated with deserts, particularly I would say, let's say, New Mexico, Nevada, maybe even California. So the dry southwestern desert is ripe for this area, for this cactus cat. And speaking again about its description and what it looks like, it's a bobcat-like animal with thick, thorn-like spikes of some sort protruding from its entire body, or just protruding from its front legs, and in some cases also protruding from its tail. So several instances of several different encounters with several different versions of the cactus cat. Again, it's either fully covered in spikes, and you'll see some pictures throughout the video here showcasing that, or again, it's just its front legs that happen to have it, or it could be both its front legs and its tail as well. And stories of encounters with this cactus cat go back to the 19th century, and they were reported by a bunch of the people that were in that southwestern area, particularly cowboys and other types of people roaming that land of sorts, and they would describe what they would call, and this is their words, strange beasts that would only come out at night. And this is where things get a little weird. I was talking earlier about how the cactus cat functions and acts. It only eats one thing, and it seems to be, and it kind of makes sense considering the area it's at, it seems to be the juice that comes out of a cactus. So when you're dealing with those dry, barren landscapes again within California, New Mexico, Nevada, and so forth, those have plenty of cactuses, or in some cases I guess it's called cacti, and that is ripe for the picking when it comes for these cactus cat. They go up, according to these reports, they go up to these cacti, and then they use either the sharp spikes within their tail or the sharp spikes within their front legs to swipe at the cacti. And then this is what happens next. They either A, leave the juice to come out as is and leave it alone to come back the next day, or they start drinking it right away. Sometimes apparently they come back the next day because it causes that juice to ferment. It causes it to go and I guess, become a special kind of juice, which is a particular favorite of this cactus cat. Either way, whether they drink it that day or they drink it the next day, the whole purpose is this other strange behavior. Once they start drinking it and they start lapping at it so much, again, this is their favorite food, pretty much the only food that they eat. Then what happens later on, again according to reports from these frontiersmen, they find these cats stumbling around because apparently this juice that's in the cacti, it actually causes them to become drunk. And this is why they love it. They love the sensation, they love the feeling, they love the taste of this juice that's coming out of the cactus. And so that's why they frequently go back to the cacti and do the same behavior over again. And also, a telltale mark of this cactus cat having a nearby presence, especially one that has had, let's say, a good amount of this juice from the cacti, is the fact that they'll start doing a strange wail of some sort. It's called apparently unique and haunting. And whenever this happens, these travelers, they reported hearing it throughout the night coming out from certain parts of the desert, and that lets them know that this is the the cactus cat nearby, and it has had its dinner and it is truly enjoying it. Another telltale sign of the cactus cat being nearby, those spikes that harbor its body, people apparently report that there's a unique sound that comes from the rubbing of these spikes, I guess when the cactus cat moves around, and it's supposed to sound like bones rubbing together. So if you're in the desert and let's say you're in a situation where either you're a tourist or you're there for work, let's say you're part of a research department or whatever, and you happen to be in a location where you see a bunch of, let's say, cacti that have the stems or the bottom parts of it kind of like opened and you see lots of the juice coming out, or you're in a place where you start hearing that haunting wail, or you also start hearing the sound of bones rubbing together, that I guess you could call it like a cackling sound of sorts, then you're in the presence of these cactus cats. By the way, you're not in really any harm when you're dealing with these cactus cats. They pretty much leave anybody that comes within their territory be. The only time people have encountered any attacks, and that's a loose word to use here, but the only time that's really happened is pretty much by accident, because it seems like these cats, whenever they go into their drunken states, that the tail that I mentioned earlier that has those spikes within them, sometimes that tail, because you know how cats move their tail pretty much in a different motion from their body. It's like a life of its own, sometimes their tails. Well, these things sometimes can come in contact with people not knowing that the tail is doing it. And so what happens is sometimes these cactus can have been reported being nearby humans, and in their drunken state they kind of like swipe their tail at one of the humans, and then that's when it causes just a little bit of harm, what's described as welts on the body from those barbed tails. But that's about it. So again, no real danger associated with these cactus cats. So what do you guys think? Again, another legendary lumberjack cryptid within folklore, or the cryptid folklore. I think in most cases it's probably one of those strange, I guess, true stranger than fiction type things, where I think a lot of people probably were seeing some form of a cat there in the desert. Cats by far are some of the most resilient creatures here on Earth. They can withstand some of the highest temperatures on Earth. They can withstand some of the coldest temperatures on Earth with pretty much great ease. And then these are cats that can also withstand, like, say, days without drinking water, because their body beautifully is able to get water from the food that it eats. So if it eats, let's say, a bird, or it eats some kind of other animal, it extracts the water perfectly, just as if, let's say, it were lapping up water from a river. So with these cats that were encountered by these cowboys and these pioneers, probably and most likely they ran into ordinary felines, maybe even household cats, who knows. And then I think that in some cases, because they were being found at night, and because these cats naturally wanted to come close to, let's say, any kind of human civilization that happened to wander around their area. That's where these encounters occurred, and because of the limited visibility of nighttime, maybe that's where there was a little bit of misinterpretation. And then, of course, the wailing that people heard. We've all heard about cats that wail at night and communicate with one another that way. So maybe it could be tied to that. And I think that humorously, maybe in some cases they were able to see these cactus cats, or these cats with spikes on them. It could be none other than, let's say, them accidentally rubbing the wrong thing. You know how cats really love to rub against anything, whether it's the edge of a table or maybe even the edge of a cabinet, a couch, whatever. And in some cases, maybe they rub against the wrong thing, like let's say it's an actual cactus, and boom, there you go. There's a bunch of spikes located right on their body. So it could be something along those lines, but who knows? It could, in other words, be something completely real. Like, let's say, an actual set of cactus cats, a whole culture of them, live in the American Southwest. We just haven't had any 100% proof as to their existence, like, let's say, photographic, video proof, anything along those lines. So again, the cactus cat, what do you guys think? If anyone has any more information that I might have missed, it'd be great to hear. Any encounters, any more recent ones particularly, and going into, let's say, a couple of years back, that would be awesome to hear too. So, all right, everybody, thanks again as always. Take care. Bye.